did. Good evening. I've been wanting to come to this place for a long time, and now I get to be here and tell a story. In January 2011, I had a telephone call from my sister-in-law in Caribou, Maine. She called me at my home in Farmington, Maine, and told me that my brother Vernon, 17 years older than I am, was in the hospital in Bangor, and he was undergoing some test. I decided that weekend I should visit him. So on Saturday morning, I took myself to the hospital in Bangor. When I found him in his room, he was up and in a bathrobe and walking around and was talking to people. He always did that. And he looked pretty good to me. We sat down and we started to converse, and almost right away he said, "Phyllis, when I got here, they took all of my personal stuff from me. Do you have $1? I need $1. So of course I reached into my purse and I gave him $1, which he put on the nightstand. We had a wonderful afternoon. We talked, and I was getting ready to retire, and he was a financial planner and knew a whole lot of stuff, and we talked about things I might do when I retired. And when it was lunchtime, his lunch came, and I went down to the cafeteria, and I got a tray, and I brought it up to his room, and we said we would have a picnic there overlooking the frozen Penobscot River. We talked some more, and a few hours later, I could tell he was getting tired. So I thought I'll take my leave. I got on my coat, and the dollar bill was still there. I said, "Vernon, what are you going to do with the dollar bill?" And he said, "Invest it." I said, "Vernon, it's a Saturday in a hospital. I know you're a good businessman, but how are you going to invest it?" He said one phrase, "Super Bowl." Oh, yeah, it was the Saturday of Super Bowl weekend. Now, I personally don't like sports. In fact, for a very long time, I really thought the Super Bowl had something to do with soup. I did. So I said, "Okay, Super Bowl weekend." And he pointed to the guy, his roommate, who was in the next bed and said, "Pittsburgh Steelers." Well, I had lived in Wisconsin, and I knew that the Green Bay Packers were up this year against the Steelers. And I said, "You're rooting for the Cheeseheads, right?" He said, "You bet I am, Phyllis." So anyway, I took my leave. And before I left, I said, "And I get a cut of whatever you invest this week and whatever the dividends are." And he said, "No, Phyllis, they go to a good cause." Well, I went home, and the next day was Sunday. I was doing my work, and I didn't have the Super Bowl pregame on or anything like that. But about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I got a little interested and curious about how that game went and how his investment went. So I called him on the telephone that was in his hospital room. I said, well, how's it going? He said, well, Super Bowl started about 3 o'clock this morning. He said, you see, Bill, the roommate couldn't sleep, and I couldn't sleep, so we talked for a long time, and one of the CNAs came in and said, really, shouldn't you men be trying to get some rest? And we said we were ready to party. And so she brought in cookies and crackers and Jell-O and fruit cups and juice, and we just kind of had a party there. And Bill laid down his dollar bill and said, I bet on the Steelers. So he said, I laid down my dollar bill, and I said, I bet on the Packers. And then they talked some more and said, you know, what's $2? Let's do a fundraiser. So he continued to tell me how very creative the nursing staff was that night. And before they knew it, the nurses came in with 2 urinals. One decorated in the colors of the Steelers, one decorated in the colors of the Packers. And my brother and his roommate proceeded, as soon as daybreak came and people started stirring, to walk down the hallways and solicit money for their various urinals. And when I was talking to him, and I said, well, we don't know. The game is on right now. And he said, yep. He said, we don't know who's going to win, but I want you to know that I've got more money in my urinal than he's got in his. And we're going to put the money all together, and we're going to donate it to the children's ward downstairs. So that was my conversation with him. The next day was Monday. By Monday evening, we had learned that his test showed that he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and he would probably not ever see another Super Bowl game. The following December, I traveled up to Caribou, Maine, to attend his celebration of life service. As I went in, I picked up the cards, the donation card. He wanted any memorial monies to go to the Shriners Hospital. He was very proud of his work with the Shriners, and he said, Phyllis, if you ever go to the hospital and see the children, you'll know you'll always have to support this. So I wrote out a check for the Shriners Hospital. And then I looked down, and there was a picture of my brother, and I swear that he said to me, make it bigger. It's a good cause. It's an investment. So every time I think of my brother, my big brother, this is how I reboot myself. Only one life, 'twill soon be past. But all the good that you do for others will last and last.